ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
Are you a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues radio listener? Of course you are. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call real estate superstar Mike Burgoyne today at 314-753-4060 or email him at mike@strikewithmike.com to earn special rates today.
Cut out the coffee, cut out those energy drinks that make you crash, and put yourself in a position to succeed with an energy boost from RockinThatIDLife.com. You'll be energized, focused, and you'll even experience an elevated mood for up to 6 hours. Check out RockinThatIDLife.com to learn more.
A team that was in last place on January 3rd. The players on the bench are bouncing up. History will be made tonight in Boston.
You're watching Let's Go Blues Radio, the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast with your hosts Kurt Price, Bill Day, and what appears to be a Peter Dinklage cosplay. So just sit back, grab a beer, and enjoy the best blues hockey talk on YouTube.
Happy Winter Classic Day to you, Bill.
Happy Winter Classic Day to you, Jeff.
And to all of you watching, happy Winter Classic Day. Welcome to episode 14 of season 14. This is episode number 495 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated, there's always meat on the burner. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Special thanks to Mike Burgoyne of StrikeWithMike.com and Dustin Paul of RockinThatIDLife.com for sponsoring us. Check out the Let's Go Blues Minute wherever you get podcasts. It provides you with a daily look into the St. Louis Blues in a quick hit fashion. Smash that subscribe button. It's Tuesday, December 31st, and we're streaming live to the masses. Make sure to follow us on socials at LGB Radio and like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook. I'm your host, Jeff Ponder, and I'm joined by Ron Caron's favorite trade deadline acquisition, Bill Day. Kurt Price is facing allegations and will not be joining us. The agenda for tonight includes a look into the big day, the Winter Classic for the St. Louis Blues and Chicago Blackhawks. All this and more on this festive and traditional edition of Let's Go Blues Radio. So you can see that we are both, if you're watching the video here, we are both decked out in Winter Classic gear. It's a big day for St. Louisans. I'm wearing the Winter Classic jersey from, I guess 3 years ago now. From Ryan O'Reilly jersey, which I got like literally, 3 months before he was traded. So, but I knew it was coming. And I was like, you know what? I'll still wear it. I don't care. Ryan O'Reilly's a pretty big member of the Blues history. And I'm also wearing the 2017 Winter Classic hat. Bill, you look just as good, if not better than me right now. Who are you wearing?
I am wearing Jordan Bennington, of course.
Ooh. Nice.
So got the full-on kit for Christmas, toque included. Decided not to go toque on the show, but we'll probably put it on when I'm down in my cold-ass basement because, man, it got cold real fast this morning. But,
my basement's crazy. I work down here. I pretty much live in my basement because I work a lot. I do the podcast. I do 2 podcasts down here. And plus, like, my little hangout area with my video game systems and all that's right over there. So I spend a lot of time in the basement. And so I'm pretty much cold all the time. So I tell my wife now, because, the joke is always like women don't know how to get warm. Well, that's how I am now. Now that I'm in the basement all the time, it's like I am always freaking cold. So I get it. But I will say, the toque. Wearing a toque during the show, which I've done multiple times, it's really not fun. So I don't blame you for not putting it on.
And get a little too hot too quick. So
it's like it's just I think you've got so much equipment on your head. You know, you're wearing the toque. You and I both have great hair. And then and then the headphones. It's just too much. There's too much going on with the head.
Right. Can't distract from this.
No.
Right.
It's great having nice hair, isn't it?
It is. Considering I did absolutely nothing to it today.
Yeah. Well, hey, it looks great. I hate to ask you live on the air here, but I'm going to do it anyway. You don't have a lot of gray. Do you do any dyeing?
Oh no, I have a shit ton of gray. If
Really?
I flip this up, it's all gray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess just on the exterior, it does not, and I guess the lighting helps too.
Yeah, the lighting definitely helps, and yeah, if I just let it fall in front of my face, yeah, it looks okay. But the second I put any product in and push it back a little bit, all the gray comes out.
Well, and you can see over here. Nope, over here.
Yep.
You can see the gray streaks right over here, and I got a little bit down here in my beard. There's some at the very top of my head, but for the most part, I have not gone full gray yet, and I'm pretty happy about that. My dad didn't really start going gray until he was in his 50s. My brother still looks really good. He's 49. Don't tell him I said that. But for me, it's like, I don't know. I've got a good feeling that I'm not really going to lose my hair, and I got a good feeling on going gray. So hopefully this lasts.
Same. I will go lighter brown if the hair color comes from your dad. And my dad, like, he didn't really lose his hair until the last couple of years. And he had to come over for a few years before that, but his just got lighter. So
yep. That's how my dad was too.
That.
My dad got a little bit of the, what do they call that? The
widow's peak.
The widow's peak, a little bit as he hit like 60, but it still looked great. And he got it cut short on purpose too. He liked having it cut short. So I think if he would have had it grow out a little bit longer, it wouldn't have been as noticeable. But I mean, my friends all envy me whenever I grow my hair out, and it's funny, they get so mad at me when I talk about, like, I want to shave my head sometime just to see what it's like. I've never had a completely shaven head, and they get mad at me. They're like, dude, you could still grow a full head of hair. Screw you. Like, we have to shave our heads.
Don't fuck with it. Do not fuck with nature, lest it might not grow back.
Yeah, well, and that's the Seinfeld episode, right? When Elaine dates the swimmer and he shaves his head and then he starts growing it out and he's like, "Oh, I'm going bald."
Yep.
Good stuff. All right. Well, let's get into it. We got a big day coming up here today for all Blues and Blackhawks fans. So let's talk about our official beers of episode number 495. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. I am Jay Ponder 94. Kurt is C Price 12, and Bill is at Billy Blue Note 33. Today it's today. It's 1:25 right now in the afternoon on a Tuesday. So I am drinking alcohol. And by the way, this nice little Grinch mug that I found made by a special needs warrior when I was out in Estes Park. So it says "Don't be a Grinch" on it. Very nice mug. Hopefully you can see there without spilling it. Yeah, I've got some homemade eggnog that I am drinking. So I usually make 2 batches every Christmas. So I made one Christmas Eve, and then I make one for New Year's. So this is my New Year's eggnog, last of the year. And my God, I gotta say, I make a great eggnog. I really should have made some for you when we got together 2 weeks ago. Maybe next year I'll make 3 batches.
Yeah, the bottled stuff was okay, but nothing beats.
Dude, there's nothing like homemade. Yeah.
Yeah. And since you made it, it is truly homemade.
True. That is, I mean, and it's made from scratch. Eggs, whole milk, the whole thing. So, and I'll also say that I am drinking some Rockin' That ID Life, some of Dustin Paul's juice. That did not come out right.
No.
I should not have said it that way. Rockin' That ID Life from our friend
podcast.
Paul. There it is. Trees, right on cue. Found it. Season 8, episode 11, The Little Jerry. Yep, that's the Little Jerry episode with Elaine. So that's a good one. Let's go. Bill, what do you got today?
Well, we're keeping with the theme. You and your Grinch mug, and me with my seasick crocodile from
Nice.
Prairie Artisan Ales, inspired by Matt Harris. Happy birthday, Matt! Enjoy the game. But he had this on one of our pre-Christmas, might have been our Christmas show.
I think it was.
And so I found it in the stores and picked it up. And I'll tell you, I am not a huge sour beer fan, but this does really well. It's very, very Christmassy, and I appreciate it.
I will tell you, if a beer is named well, and or the can has really awesome art, I will try it.
For sure.
Like, and I've said that about IPAs. I am not an IPA fan, but like Voodoo Ranger puts out some really cool cans, and I'm like, I'll try it. And they pretty much I think they only make IPAs.
Yeah,
and so I'll still try their
Ranger
stuff here and there.
series is all IPA.
Yeah. And so like I always try it whenever I see a new can that I hadn't seen before, because I'm like, it looks cool. Sometimes they name them really cool, and like you mentioned the Voltron ones that you've tried. Like I'm going to drink those because they put effort into the design or the name. So Seasick Crocodile, I'm not a sour beer fan either. I will try that eventually because I am as I told you before the show, I am a huge Grinch fan. I've seen all the movies that they've made. I want to get the decoration. I think I've talked my wife into it finally. I don't know if you've seen it. Actually, I think Kurt's neighbor has the decoration where it's the Grinch and it looks like he's pulling the lights off of the house. And like he's like in the middle of the yard and the lights are just going right into his hands. I think that is the coolest decoration ever. So I think I've talked my wife into let me do that next year. So we'll see.
That'd be cool. As I look out across the street, there's a guy across the street that has the Grinch like going up into the chimney decoration.
Oh, nice.
So pretty cool.
Yeah, there's another one with him like peering over the fence. We considered that, but the problem is we don't have like the completely enclosed fence, so it's just like his head and his hands, and you can like see that there's nothing below that. So for us, it's like it really doesn't work. Trees. You support everything the Grinch does, defend every decision despite whatever allegations the Grinch faces. Sure, as long as he's not getting into any serious problems, I won't judge you, Grinch. You can do whatever you want. All right. Well, like I said, a lot of show to get to here. Let's open up talking a little bit about the World Junior Championships. I know you said in our in our last show, Bill. Oh boy, I forgot what it's like to talk with having eggnog at the same time. Is it the eggnog or is it the nutmeg?
It's probably a little bit of both. Like dairy messes with your throat, and then the eggnog will make it scratchy.
Yep.
Or the nutmeg.
Nutmeg. Yep. Yeah, I think it's I'm feeling more the nutmeg now, but I'm sure later it'll be too much dairy. And side note, I played hockey on Sunday. I literally could like feel my body being like, why have you had so much eggnog in the last week? And it was brutal. It was rough. Like I felt like I weighed about 400 pounds. So after this batch is done, as much as I love eggnog, it's like, all right, now stop drinking dairy so much. It's like basically having a milkshake every day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. So prospects at the World Junior Championships. Dalibor Dvorsky had himself a big game, as well as Yuri Pekarczyk. Remember, they play for Slovakia. They beat Kazakhstan Monday night 5-4 in overtime. Both players got 2 goals and 2 assists in that game. We mentioned on the last show, Jakob Stancil had himself quite the big game as well. So right now, Stancil and Dvorsky are actually, I haven't checked with today's games yet. But last I saw, they were in a 4-way tie with the most points and most goals. So clearly they're having a great World Junior Championship. Stonsel's not really a guy we've heard a ton about. I mean, we've heard about him, but obviously the Dvorsky, Stenberg, Lindstein, these are the guys we're hearing about. But and obviously Adam Juracek as well, the most recent first round pick. But Stonsel and Pekarchik are looking pretty good as well. I haven't watched all the games. I've watched a fair amount, but I will say that from what I've seen from Slovakia, Pekarchik is, I mean, he's right there. Him and Dvorsky have both gotten a ton of ice time, and they're driving the offense, and it's nice to see for some young Blues prospects.
Yeah, it's super exciting to see having, what is it, nine in this one? It's like that. We have the most by far.
Yep.
But yeah, quick look at the stats leaderboard. It's a 4-way tie for top spot with 7 points between Wojtek Radic of Czechia, probably my favorite name so far, Axel Sandin Pelika of Sweden, defenseman, got 7 points, Jakob Stansel and Dalibor Dvorsky sitting right there. So yeah, it's few people have been able to post 7 so far, and I definitely miss being able to watch this, not having NHL Network, because they only deal with the top tier cable and satellite providers that I'm tired of doing business with. So, and I'm not going to try to get it other ways, as some people I know do. But yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I can figure out how to get a new subscription to Fubo and catch the medal round at least.
Well, tonight is a big night. U.S. and Canada play at 7:00 St. Louis time. So
maybe I do that tonight.
I was going to say, might be something to look forward to doing between this and the Winter Classics. That way you can catch that game tonight, because that'll be pretty awesome. I mean, only one Blues prospect in that one, but always a good game, U.S. and Canada, whenever they face off.
Yeah, Colin Ralph. And it's a big game for Canada because they've been getting panned by the Canadian media.
Yes, they have. Matt MLO 12 says Stonsel has been impressive. Kind of feel bad for Dvorsky and Pekarchik on that Slovak team. Yeah, pretty much outside of them, there's not a lot going on for Slovakia. But it is really cool, because I was thinking about this earlier when I'm like, man, Dvorsky and Pekarchik are both doing so well. It'd be really cool to see them on a top line together with the Blues in a couple of years. And I thought, man, but they got to get one more Slovak, right? So we can have Slovak Pak 2. Yes. And I'm thinking your boy in Montreal, maybe get a little Slafkovsky over here.
Sure. Montreal's looking to get broken up in the next couple of years. So if they'll
be ready for their 4th rebuild in 8 years.
Yeah.
And then we also have from Matt Emelo 12. He did really good last year. Talking about Stonsel. He did really good last year at the World Juniors too, I remember. Yeah, he's a big game player, it seems. So somebody that maybe is not getting talked about a lot, Pekarchik. And then Matt also adds, and I guess Matt's been paying attention to the WJCs. He says Otto, which he's talking about Stenberg, and Theo Lindstein both look good too. Yeah, I haven't watched as much Sweden, but from what I've seen, those guys are getting used in every situation. So clearly the Swedish coaching staff has tons of respect for those two players. So good to see. And two guys I think we'll be seeing in the lineup for the Blues in the next couple of years. And, of course, Daniel H., I don't know you, but I love your comment. He just says, let's go Blues. Yes, 100%. Big day coming up here, guys. Well, let's again, I mean, there's some games coming up in the World Junior Championships, but clearly there's one big game that we all want to talk about. And we'll be getting to that here after the break. But as I said to Bill just now, U.S. Canada tonight after the Blues and Blackhawks game, 7:00 on NHL Network. Be worth checking out if you're looking for something to do before the ball drops. last year, I think when we were doing the show, I think I said before the balls drop, and I'm like, nope, wait, that's not right.
That could be appropriate for the World Juniors.
Great. I got to clip that one off. That's a great comment, Bill. All right. Well, on that note, let's take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and when we get back, we will preview the Winter Classic coming up between the Blues and Blackhawks. You are listening to Jeff and Bill on Let's Go Blues Radio.
We'll return after these messages.
As a hockey player, Mike Burgoyne knows a thing or two about making the perfect play. And when it comes to real estate, he's always ready to score the winning goal for his clients. If you're a first responder, a veteran, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, or a Let's Go Blues Radio listener looking to score the home of your dreams, you'll receive special rates with Mike. Go ahead, shoot some questions his way, and he'll have the answer quicker than Curtis Joseph on a breakaway.
Curtis Joseph got the pedal down!
Any barriers? Mike will mow them down like Chris Pronger in front of the net. He'll score you your dream home or sell your existing home faster than a Brett Hall one-timer.
Flip past the Hall, he shoots, he scores!
See Burgoyne's real estate prowess in action today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or by calling 314-753-4060. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com, and that phone number is 314-753-4060. Getting Mike Burgoyne on your team will be the boost your power play needs.
Hey guys, it's Jeff. You know, the fun, energetic host of Let's Go Blues Radio. I know I give off a natural energy and cheerful glow, but as I've gotten older, I've realized I need a kick in the pants to get going. I've tried it all, from forcing myself to drink coffee to picking up an energy drink every morning, but none of it provided true, sustainable energy without crash. Luckily, my friend Dustin at RockinThatIDLife.com told me about their product, Energy, which provides exactly what I need. The first thing I do every morning is fill up my shaker bottle with water and a small energy packet, and within minutes of drinking it, my day truly begins. I feel motivated to get going on my work and feel the mental focus take effect as I dive into what I'm doing. I don't crash, and I feel like $1,000,000 throughout the day. Reach out to Dustin today to experience how much better your professional life can be. Email him at rockinThatIDLife@gmail.com and get $10 off your first order. That's rockinThatIDLife.com, and that email again is rockinThatIDLife@gmail.com. Don't let a lack of energy keep you from being who you want to be.
Yes, and as you can see, there are a lot of different ways to stamp out thirst with refreshing Stag beer. Now, one of the most popular is this handy six-pack. People like the six-pack because it saves space in the refrigerator, lets them keep more good, cold Stag beer on hand. And you know, when you've got Stag on hand, you've got a mess.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
Well, lots to talk about here, but clearly we don't want to go all day. We're going to go a little bit longer, 35, 40 minutes, give people some time to prep before the big game. But, some notes I wanted to touch on. This is the first rematch in Winter Classic history. The Blackhawks are 1-5 in their outdoor game history, 4 losses in the Winter Classic. This will be their 7th outdoor game, which is more than any other team. The Blues are 2-0 in their 2 appearances in the Winter Classic. If the Blues win on Tuesday, they'll share the league lead with the Boston Bruins for the most Winter Classic wins with 3. Currently, the Blues are one of just 4 franchises with multiple Winter Classic victories. So if they can win today, which, let's be honest, they should, they will, 3-0 in Winter Classic. And you played a good Blackhawks team, a good enough Blackhawks team in 2017, and a good Minnesota team in 2022. This obviously is the weakest team they will be playing, but if they can pick up their 3rd win, that is very impressive for Winter Classic history.
Yeah, I mean the St. Louis Winter Classic, and that Hawks team still featured Caves, Tane, and Corey Crawford in net. So, that it was a much better team than, not that Connor Bedard's, he's still up and coming. Taylor Hall is having a decent year, but Peter Mrazek and Arvid Soderblom still on the back end for the Hawks. Goaltending matchup, we should win this hands down. Hopefully we have a little better showing than we had on Sunday. But yeah, I think everybody's going to be so up for this game. It's Sunday's going to be a distant memory, and once they get out there, I expect a pretty good game, but goals on both ends.
Yeah, you mentioned the goaltending. So the Blues have already scored 10 goals in 2 Winter Classic appearances. That's actually more than any other NHL team. So the Blues, when you look at Winter Classic history, have already put up a good amount of goals. But yes, I believe it looks like Mrazek is going to be getting the start. But Soderblom behind him, no reason why the Blues shouldn't put up at least a 5 spot in this game for me. And with a weaker defense as well, Seth Jones being the number 1 guy. I just can't help but feel like the Blues should really come in here. And I'm not saying that, I expect a 7-1 drubbing, but, obviously the Blackhawks are going to have the fans on their side. It's, a historic day. Playing in Wrigley. None of these guys were on the team the last time that they had a game at Wrigley Field. This might as well be the first for all those players. And let's face it, we can sit here all day and talk about how the Blackhawks can't win in the Winter Classic. This is a completely different team. This is literally, is there one player left from their last Winter Classic appearance, which was against the Blues in 2017?
Don't believe so.
I don't think
right?
so.
The Blues have Parayko, right? That's our holdover.
Yep, that's it. So for me, it's like this is a completely different team. This is a young team that in the Blackhawks that could easily come out and just have so much momentum. The Blues will just have to try and save face in the first period and weather the storm. That wouldn't surprise me at all, but I still feel like at the end of the day, I thought the Blues, you mentioned the Buffalo game. I think they still played very well. I think they played well enough to win on Sunday. I just think, I don't know how you feel. I don't want to completely pin it on him. Not Binnington's strongest game. And I thought the offense, they got chances on Luukkonen, but I feel like, man, they just were not, they couldn't capitalize. They couldn't get that final poke on a rebound, or they couldn't get the right shot on the power play. I know Jim Montgomery was upset with the way the power play looked. They were 0 for 4. So it was just like a lot of bad things happened in that game, but I think overall they played okay. So I like the way the Blues are playing coming into this game. But it is still, to me, it's like, you got it. This is one of those, I think you mentioned it in the last show, Bill, the weakness of some of these teams they're playing right now. Detroit, Nashville, Buffalo, Chicago. After this, they've got Ottawa? Is that right?
Yep. Ottawa on Thursday.
Yep. Yeah. They got Ottawa on Friday. Columbus on
today's Wednesday. No, today's these holidays have me screwed up.
Well, plus we're doing like day shows now for Let's Go Blues Radio. What the hell's happening?
Day drinking and everything.
Yeah, what the hell? You've got some games you're in the midst right now of games you need to be winning. If you're serious about being a playoff team, if you're serious about, making a run at all this season, this is a game you have to win.
Yeah. And, hopefully the loss to the Sabres was, a blip on the radar. Sabres are starting to turn it around after a pretty bad run of games. They're the one their last 3. They looked really strong against the Blues. Blues definitely have some things to clean up, both PK and power play wise. And I think we make those adjustments. Should be no game's easy, but shouldn't be as challenging as Sunday's game.
Yeah, I agree. I think I saw that the Sabres, and I talked about this in the Let's Go Blues Minute. Smash that subscribe button. I think it was 17-5 is what the Sabres have outscored their opponents in the last 3 games. 3-game winning streak for them, which is very impressive. Especially considering they're just coming off a 13-game losing streak. So they've turned it around very quickly. And it's just unfortunate their timing coming into St. Louis, because I think the Blues were, if you're ever going to look past a game and say, okay, what's after that game? Oh, it's the Winter Classic. It's going to be that game. It'll be, let's look past this Buffalo game. I'm not saying they did that. I know they prepped, they watched game tape, all that. But I'm just saying, I think if you're ever going to be like, let's get through this game and get to the next game, that's the game to do it. So I can totally see. Now, I don't think they laid an egg against Buffalo. I just think they weren't capitalizing as they could. And I'm hoping that's what we'll see today against the Blackhawks.
Right. And UPL was really, really good against the Blues. And Jordan Binnington, like that, he gave up a backbreaker. That 4th goal, just that can never go in.
Yep.
So, and I think that's more indicative of, not focused on the present moment, kind of looking forward to the next game. But hated seeing that goal go in.
Let me ask you. I mean, Hofer played fine against the Predators. Wasn't bad. I thought it was an odd decision to play Hofer against the Predators as Binnington was coming off his shutout against the Red Wings. Play Hofer against the Predators and then play Binnington the game before the Winter Classic against the Sabres. Because my thought was, okay, what if Binnington has a stinker against Buffalo, which I don't think he was awful, but he wasn't great. Right. But what if he would have given up 7 goals in that game, or like 3 goals on 5 shots or something? Like, what do you do then? Do you still, because in this game, it's predetermined, like the NHL wants a Jordan Binnington in net. So you want to give that to him. Plus, like, you basically, like, Binnington's got the mask, he's got the whole pad set up. He is,
which I want to talk about, because
yes, we will.
Sexy.
It is sexy. I agree. Oh man, yeah. I went from 6 to midnight when I saw that on Instagram. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was an odd decision to play Binnington coming off the shutout against your division rival. Then you give Hofer the Sabres afternoon game. Then you go back to Binnington for the Winter Classic. I thought that was no doubt what was going to happen, but Montgomery clearly had a different plan. What did you think?
Well, it seems, unless Binnington wasn't feeling the best or something going into the Nashville game, it seems like it's that predetermined script that they've been using for the last couple of years, right? They're scheduling it ahead of time, and I think it probably would have been better. I'll say I didn't, Hofer, like you said, he was okay against Nashville, but I having Binner come off the shutout, I don't know, maybe they're thinking back to last couple of games against Nashville last year. All the games against Nashville last year weren't very good, so like let's not put him in that situation, and give him what could potentially be a better game on Sunday. But I don't know, Sunday just shaped up bad all around. We're not great at afternoon games, and we're not good at Sunday games, and that was double whammy. And it was a head scratcher to me too. I would have preferred the same as you, see Binner against Nashville.
Well, I think the key here, talking about goaltending, is the last 2 games they've been okay. It's not, they haven't been world beaters, they haven't been awful, they've been okay. And I think when a goalie's okay, you can say that means good enough to win. If your team can score enough goals, your defense plays well enough, that's good enough to win. But clearly, Blues go 1-1 in the last 2 games with each goalie getting a start. Okay goaltending so far. I would love, because I thought in the last Winter Classic, Binnington played really well, and I want to say it was until the 3rd period when Minnesota started really pressing. I'd love to see Binner come out today and just a shutout, don't get me wrong, would be fantastic. Game hasn't started yet. I'm allowed to say that. Right, Bill? That's the rule.
Yes.
So that would be fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But like just having a good game, maybe a couple huge saves on Bedard. I would love to see that. I'd love to see him. And it would be really cool to like point to this game and being like, that's where Benner started taking over the season. So let's hope that happens. But either way, Bill, I want to pause the show here and mention. I just noticed this. It is you are blocked with what you have hanging up. So I'm going to take it down for a second. I didn't realize you own a Blackhawks jersey.
I don't own a Blackhawks jersey. My significant other owns a Blackhawks jersey.
Okay.
So her dad took her to a game when she was much younger and bought her a jersey. And that was well before we met. And I've tried to throw it out a few times, but not allowed. But I broke it out for this for today only. I will display it since it represents the matchup.
No, that's cool.
Plus I could, someday do a Clark Griswold with it. So,
yep. No, you know what I saw? Some family pictures somebody posted of they were all wearing the Blackhawks style jersey, and they all had Griswold on the back, but instead it was like a moose's head, and with like Christmas lights around it. And I was like, yes, the Blackhawks jersey without the logo, I would totally buy that because I love that movie, but it's like I can't wear the damn Blackhawks logo.
Yeah, I will not put that on. So somewhere out there is a picture of me wearing a Red Wings jersey early 90s. But I was much younger and doing things for love and all that kind of stuff. So
I used to have a bet with a Red Wings fan in the 90s and early 2000s in school that if every time they played, whoever lost had to wear the other person's jersey. I didn't win that one a lot. I did it every year or every game that they played just because I was hopeful my team would win, but it did not turn out well for me. I lost a lot of those bets, and so there are probably pictures floating around of me wearing a Red Wings jersey. So let's talk about you. You mentioned that in the Winter Classic experience for the Blues, 9 members of the St. Louis roster have sported the Blue Note in at least one Winter Classic game, most coming from the last Winter Classic game, with defenseman Colton Parayko being the only player in franchise history to dress in all 3 events for the Blues. Be interesting to see if he gets a 4th game wearing a Blue Note in the Winter Classic. But that's pretty cool. You think about other players that have probably done that for their teams. Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane, Duncan Keith, like names like that. They're all prolific players that would be able to boast that kind of thing. So good for Colton Parayko being able to do that.
Yeah. And, I won't get into the, hey, could it possibly be another guy or, the one guy that stays here for his entire career? Much too early to talk about that. Still fairly young dude, but that would be pretty awesome.
Yep.
Hopefully the Blues will get into another Winter Classic in a few years, but I have to imagine if they're still doing the Stadium Series, I think we're probably going to get relegated to that for a game or two.
Yeah, I think this was a special case because I do think the NHL picked the Blackhawks purely because of Connor Bedard. Remember when this was announced, it was still like Bedard madness with ESPN coverage and all that. So, which it still is, but I think it's died down a little bit. So I think this really was like, you've got one of the most prolific players in the NHL right now, young kid coming up. Obviously he's 19, never played in an outdoor game. So he's going to don't be surprised, Blues fans, when you see lot of conversation around Connor Bedard in today's game. So, yeah, I think this was a special case. They were like, okay, what's a rival we could put against the Blackhawks in the Winter Classic? And so they picked the Blues. And I remember at the time, everyone just being like, what? Blackhawks and Blues? They're like two bottom-feeding teams. So, yeah, it is a little odd to see, but I do think that this Blues team and Blackhawks team really are both on the rise. And we'll see the Blues, I think, get another Winter Classic here. And I don't think it's going to be anytime super soon, but I'd say in the next 7-8 years, I could see the Blues getting another Winter Classic. And I don't know if you have it here, but I could see them being an away team again.
I would love a Stadium Series game here at City Park.
That would be incredible. I was just going to say that. If we could get a Stadium Series game that would be, don't get me wrong, I want ticket prices to stay low, but I'm pretty sure I'd pay almost anything to go to that game. I think you would too, Bill.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Much better sight lines, right? It's basically set up the same way. Unlike Wrigley, unlike most baseball stadiums, right? You just aren't going to get good sight lines. That's like the one thing I noticed when they did the Blues walking through on their YouTube thing that they put out yesterday. Matthew Joseph said, I don't know how the fans are going to see any of this, but it's cool. Like, I think I would love to see it embraced across different MLS venues, right? That it makes for a much better like opportunity for fans to be able to get an outdoor game and have good sight lines, right? So if you're going to continue the Stadium Series, start partnering with MLS.
I think that'd be awesome. City Park holds what, 22,000? So a little bit more than the Blues than Enterprise Center holds. So yeah, you're probably not looking at that as like, because when you think of outdoor games, they're doing them in football stadiums and baseball stadiums. But I think if you're looking to maybe garner new fans in particular, I think having it at a soccer park would make soccer fans be like, oh, that's really interesting. I'd love to see a different sport at my team's park. Because, they're a little smaller. You're probably not going to make as much money, but you're going to get some broadcasting. TNT will be all over that. And the merchandise alone, I think, would be really cool. There's going to be some soccer and hockey mashup jerseys and stuff that I think would do really, really well.
Yeah, that would be pretty fantastic. And MLS is everywhere, right? MLS has stadiums in pretty much every hockey market. Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. They're not in the middle of Canada yet, but they do have exposure in Canada. And then like Nashville's got a really strong team, so chance for them to have one. Probably would be at Nissan Field before anything else, but or did they already do that? I think they already
Nissan
did that.
Ooh.
I don't know. Producer Austin was just there. He should tell us.
Yes. Daniel over in the YouTube chat says, see, this is where we are indifferent. I'm a Sporting fan and Royals fan. I live in KC. That's where you get a pass. When you add in, I live in KC, that's where it's okay. Now, if you were like, I'm in St. Louis and I'm a Sporting fan, I'd say, get the hell off my show. But you have a pass. Just like when I met a very nice man when I was in Chicago, our Uber driver, he was a big Blackhawks fan. And I'm like, were you born and raised here in Chicago? And he was like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, then you have every right to be a Blackhawks fan, sir. Like, it's the people who, they just won a championship. I'm going to pick that team. That's the kind of thing that drives me crazy. So, Daniel, we are cool with you being a Sporting and Royals fan, but just know that when I don't care so much about the Royals. I've always kind of rooted them on in secret. But Sporting, that's a team I do not like. So
see you youngster weren't around for 85, and I can never root for the Royals because of 85. Kurt
when
can
that
never root
happened,
for the Royals because of 85.
When that happened, I believe I was, 5 months old. So yeah, I did not. Now my dad used to get pissed at me. He'd be like, "How are you rooting for the Royals?" And I'm like, "Because they've been nothing but crap since I've started watching baseball. Like I feel bad for their fans." Well, I don't. Screw them.
Yeah. Yeah, they were historically bad after that, but yeah, the George Brett days, they were a damn good team.
Yep.
Multiple World Series, and should not have won in '85.
Nope. Well, let's talk about a little bit about. Well, you mentioned it. Some of the social media stuff that we've seen from the Blues. So they had their practice yesterday. They had a family skate, which was really cool. I love seeing all the players out there. Like that's one thing. Like I don't get too jazzed about like when they do like the family photos at Christmas. Like I like scrolling through them and seeing them just like I do with my friends. It's nice to see, but I'm not like one of those people that's like, oh, look at Colton Parayko's wife. Oh, look at the kids. Yeah, I just feel weird because I don't know those people. But when I see the like family skate at the Winter Classic, I think that's really cool because I'm like, man, that is. I mean, even for NHL players, that can be once in a lifetime situation. So to be able to go out there with your family, with your wife, with your parents, like Jordan Binnington's parents were out there with him, your kids, that is really, really cool to see.
Right. Being able to, because the NHL's always pitched this as, getting back to the roots of hockey, family is a part of everything, right? Mom, dad, taking you to the games and sitting outside in the cold when you're real young, right? And getting that opportunity to repay them and have them a part of it. That's got to make it for a lot of the guys, especially the guys with younger families, right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, so personal note, so I played in my high school's alumni game last Thursday, which felt really weird, Bill, because I don't know if I told you, I was the second oldest guy on the team. I had somebody from the year before I graduated, 2003, and then I was 2004, and then everyone else was like 08 and beyond. And so it was like, we were clearly the elder statesmen, which was just really just makes me feel so old. But I brought my mom. Like it was out in St. Charles, which is where I grew up. So I brought my son because he loves watching me play, and I brought my mom. I went and picked her up, and it was funny because like one of the guys asked me in the locker room, like they asked everyone, like, you guys got anybody here watching, girlfriends, wives, whatever, and I was like, oh, my mom's here. And I was like, honestly, like, and my mom loves coming to that kind of thing because I'm just like, to me, like, yes, I'm not in the NHL. I'm not paid to play hockey. But like, to me, like, it's kind of like a thank you as a man at 39 years old to be able to be like, Mom, look, like, because you had all these crazy late nights taking me to hockey and crazy early mornings taking me to hockey and then taking me to school or whatever. Like, I'm still able to do this kind of thing. Like, if you didn't do that, I wouldn't be playing today. And so for me, it's like there is still that like family aspect of thank you, parents. You sacrificed a ton for me. Now I'm going to do my best to repay you. And again, me taking my mom to an alumni game isn't quite the same, but it is something that I know she gets joy out of. And I'm sure all these players being able to get on the ice with their kids and grandkids were very, very, very nice for them.
100%. Lost my dad last summer, and he was, a lot of the driving energy behind me playing, and losing him, and I wish I would have been able to show him some video of me getting back out on the ice, but it was that much more motivation for me to get back out there and start playing again. So all those fond memories from growing up and playing. I played so many of the local rinks when I played as a youngster were outdoors. Like when I played with the Force the last time we played at Kirkwood. The last time I played at Kirkwood, it was an outdoor rink. Right. It's just crazy. Like Kirkwood was outdoors, Webster was outdoors, Shaw Park played a couple games there, Cahokia, Granite City, right? Granite's still open and outdoors, and might get an opportunity to play there before too long. But the outdoor aspect of the game, and for parents that got up at 5 a.m. to go drive and sit outside to watch us play, right? For NHLers being able to pay them back to say, hey, look where we got today, and taking it back to the roots. It's all magical.
Yep. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, and you do get that feel when you take the ice in an outdoor rink. Yeah, I know you haven't done it since you've come back, but by the way, I need to book the Centene outdoor rink, and I think we could have a lot of fun out there with some of our teammates and getting other people out. That would be a lot of fun. I haven't done that yet. Last outdoor rink I played at was Shaw Park. I don't even know if that's still around or not. But anyway, no, and you do get that feel. Like, even when I've gone to like Steinberg just to skate, like just to go out and skate with friends, like you do get that feel of like being a kid and like learning to skate and skating outside, and and it's like this culmination of hockey too, where it's just like you're out in this outdoor rink. It's night, it's chilly, it's cold, and it's just like there's just something magical about that. And I know the players feel it. And seeing all these great pictures of the night sky over Wrigley and the players with their families, it's really cool. It's a really cool thing to witness. But you brought up that they asked each player what their walk-up song would be, I guess, if they were in batting practice, or I'm sorry, in batting in a MLB game. Yeah. I missed that one, but you saw it. What was some of the responses?
Yeah, so most of them were kind of caught off guard. You could tell that it was just one of those things that they were asking them on that I don't know if it was Pinkert or whoever caught them on their way out to the ice, and just threw a question at them. Trying to remember, somebody said Thriller. So like, okay, yeah, maybe. Bushnevich was trying to come up with Lose Yourself by Eminem. He's like, what's that song? Eminem, yes. Somebody else said Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, which I think that would be appropriate for for a winter classic, right? You're living your dreams. Mm-hmm. They asked Ryan Suter, he's like, oh, I don't know, I'm a country guy. He eventually said something like Kenny Chesney, so that was interesting. The funniest one was Nathan Walker, and whoever was doing the social media bit didn't get it, but he said Land Down Under by Men at Work. Like, he's even in on the joke.
Nice.
So yeah, it was interesting, but one of those things, you like it a little bit more engineered, maybe, so that you have time to think about it. I certainly have given it thoughts. I think one year we tried to do it for our softball team, so I put some thought into it and then wound up missing that game. So
of course.
So I don't know. Do you have one?
I do. You mentioned this before the show, and so I have had time to think about it. But it's kind of silly that it didn't hit me sooner. For many reasons, my song, I think, would be one of my favorite bands growing up, was Real Big Fish. So I think it would be Beer. I'd have to do the Beer song.
Nice. That'd be pretty much one of a kind. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, and you got to figure too, because if you ever saw Basketball, that was a song they played there because they were the Milwaukee Beers, and that's one of my favorite comedies. So it just fits for many reasons. How about you?
So for me, it would be Here Comes Your Man by the Pixies. So one of my favorite albums of all time. And perfect, right? Like you want to announce yourself, right? Here comes your man. So yeah, I've always thought that would be a perfect one. One of my favorites that I've seen, I think my favorite walk-up song of all time was when Josh Donaldson did Careless Whisper. when he was in Toronto. So that was, or maybe he was still in Oakland, but that just blew me away. Just going completely off the deep end. Matt MLO brought up something I should have said too about the about the blues thing. Torpo singing was pretty good. I didn't recognize the song.
Okay.
But he sang and it was pretty damn good.
That's awesome.
He was the one guy that really embraced the question, I think.
Nice. Yeah, it's always good to see because they do that like question of the day every now and then. They'll post them on social media, like the Blues, especially when they have like a home practice. They have a board up and it's a question, and then they have to walk up, and as they got a camera in their face and they say something, then walk onto the rink.
That was pretty much the bit.
Yeah, and I like that. I think that's an awesome social. It's not. I don't want to say it's not difficult because there's a lot of work that goes into any video that's created by a professional hockey team. But in overall lift, it's not a lot to ask, so it's really cool and it gets great responses. But you do get some people who kind of phone it in, and they're just like, like I'd love to see like the whole video of these players all walking out and see which ones like don't even look at the board and just walk past. Because you got it, there's at least one or two guys on the team that do that every single time.
Oh, for sure.
But I do like the players that do get into it and they get excited. I know Nathan Walker has been a guy in the past who has gotten involved in the question of the day. Parayko's usually one giving a pretty good response. So I do love that. I think it's fun to see. So to see some of these players get into a walk-up song idea is pretty good. Love seeing it. Although I did give the response a couple of years ago. Somebody asked me this, and I said Brett Hall singing Gloria. Give me that all day. So we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Cam Fowler is expected to dress in his 1,000th career game on Tuesday. Fowler will become the first player in league history to celebrate his 1,000th game in an outdoor matchup in 999 games. Fowler has 462 points, including 97 goals. So if he gets a hat trick today, he's got 100 goals too, which would be really cool. By the way, Cam Fowler has never had a hat trick in the NHL, so why not? Here's your chance, Cam. Cam is expected to play on the top pairing with Colton Parayko. I couldn't help but have this thought this morning, and I really hope I'm not jinxing him. How awful would it be if he woke up today and just had the worst flu in the world and was just like, God damn it, I can't play in my 1,000th game in an outdoor game.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awful, and hopefully that's not the case. But I don't know. Is that something that she'd just be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to power through it?
I mean, it depends on how bad it is. If it's a cold, I think 100%, you just say, fuck it. And you tell the coach, hey, there's a chance I'm not playing Friday in Ottawa, but I'm playing today. I don't give a shit. But if it's the flu, I don't think you really have a choice. You don't need to be throwing up on the rink.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need another Mellenby's kid situation.
No.
It's a little early in the year for that.
Yeah, you got to wait until like game 3 of the first round of the playoffs for that.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Blues lineup, we've got Brandon Saad, Robert Thomas, and this, by the way, goes by what they had in practice yesterday. Brandon Saad, Robert Thomas, Pavel Buchnevich on the top line, Holloway, Shen, and Kyrou second line. Third line being Neighbors, Sundqvist, and Bolduc. Fourth line, Toropchenko, Walker, and Texier. So that means Matthew Joseph draws out for this game. And Radek Faksa is not quite ready to return either. Defense, we mentioned Fowler and Parayko. You got Broberg and Falk. And then Suter and Tyler Tucker draws in. So congratulations on him being able to draw in for the Winter Classic. And we mentioned Jordan Binnington in net. So these are the lines they ran at practice yesterday, kind of similar to the lineup we saw against Buffalo, but a couple different swaps. But overall, I mean, this is probably the best lineup you can put out there. I mean, the only thing I would change is if you can get Faksa back in there, and then maybe if you can work in a Joseph somehow in there. I hate to say it, I love Sundqvist, but I think at this point, I would take Foxa and Joseph over Sundquist and Walker. But you got to make changes here and there. And I think in this game too, especially, there's a little bit of like, you're a veteran, you deserve to play in this game. So they're going to do that with some of these guys. But I think overall, this is pretty much what I think the Blues think their best lineup is at this point in the season.
Yeah, I still don't like Tyler Tucker in that lineup, but that's we covered that enough last on.
We've covered that enough the last 2 years.
Yeah. So on the Blackhawks side, I was just checking out Mark Lazarus's Blue Sky feed. One change on their side. You posted it. Top lines looking like Bedard, Hall, and Bertuzzi, with Nazar, Foligno, Donato on second line, Dickinson, Teravainen, and Mikheyev. According to Laz, Kurashev may be out, and Craig Smith's coming in to play with Reichel and Maroon. Don't forget, Pat Maroon is going to play in this game, and that will be interesting. A kind of undersold storyline there. And then their back end, TJ Brody with Seth Jones, not Mark-Edward Vlasic, but somebody else named Vlasic, Crevier, Murphy, and Allen on D.
I've said this about the Blackhawks before, but I look at some of these names, especially on defense, and I'm like, this just feels like one of those like games where it's like they didn't get the player's name rights. So they just like started filling in random player names, like, oh, there's an Allen on defense and a Murphy and Vlasic, sure, but it's not that guy; it's a different Vlasic. Like that's how I get. That's how I read this lineup.
Yeah, so Murphy's been around for a while, right? Like it's I forget his first name, but he's kid of Connor or Colin, son of Gord. Right, Gord Murphy was his dad, so he's been around a while. We should know that. Mrazek, as you said earlier, gets the start for the Hawks. Other thing I picked up off of Mark Lazarus's Twitter feed: the Blues apparently aren't going to have a grand entrance to this one. Scuttlebutt, he says, is that they had something planned but couldn't bring it together. So that's a little disappointing if true. Still gonna look out and see if something happens. But he did post a picture of the pregame presser, and the Blues were wearing Wayne Gretzky patches or something with 99 on their t-shirts. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Stuff to look forward to as you get prepared to go into this game. And I guess the other thing, right, to consider is it's the weather in Chicago is wintry mix. It's been raining for the last little bit and going to turn into a wintry mix. Puck drop supposed to be 4:15. I'm not going to be surprised if they don't push back an hour.
Well, I think 4:00 they've got Smashing Pumpkins actually performing.
So puck drop will probably be closer to 4:45 anyway.
Yeah, and they're having their usual national anthem singer. Nobody special. It's that I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the guy who's always done the Blackhawks games. So yeah, I gotta imagine game probably isn't slated to start until about, I'd say 4:25 maybe. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, if the weather gets bad, they're obviously going to push it back, and hopefully we're not talking about a Lake Tahoe situation where they're starting at like midnight or whatever that craziness was.
Yeah, no, looking at the radar, and I'm guessing the NHL right now and max. So it looks like the rain is starting to push further in. Still looks like rain, but predictive radar has snow by 4:00, so maybe they do start it, and then by 6:00 it's all moved out.
Oh, give me a snowy third period with the darkness in the background. I'm all for it. I think that'd be awesome. Let's see it. One quick last note I want to get to, just talking about the Blues and Sabres game, which we've covered a little bit. Parayko had 2 assists in that game. Jordan Kyrou's 13-game home point streak ended, 8 goals and 6 assists in that in that time. We mentioned the special teams. Blues were 0 for 4. Buffalo was 2 for 3. Good quote, I thought, from Coach Montgomery. It's frustrating. We did a lot of good things 5-on-5. Bottom line for this game is our game management, especially in the third period, wasn't good enough, and our special teams were not good enough. We're not protecting the penalty kill. Our sticks haven't been great on the PK. We're getting seamed. The last goal is a good example of us getting seamed. You've got to protect the middle of the ice and give our goalies a better chance at the saves that they should be expecting to see. That was the big takeaway for me on this game. So I've got to think that has been a stress, something that's stressed by the coaching staff, improved PK and power play. Obviously, power play has been a problem all year. PK's been up and down, but yeah, they looked bad against Buffalo. He's right. The sticks were not in the lanes. I don't know what was going on in that game, but you got to figure Chicago's going to get at least 1 or 2 power plays in this game. You cannot let that seam pass get across to guys like Taylor Hall or Connor Bedard, because they will snipe it and they will score, no matter how good Binnington's playing. So definitely something you want to see them clean up in this game.
Yeah, I thought it was really noticeable. I think it was the Tage Thompson goal that Broberg, like you could see him thinking, and he thought wrong and pulled his stick out of the lane and allowed Thompson just to walk straight down the middle and rip that snipe over Binner's shoulder. I mean, that can't happen. You've got to have your stick in the lane, clog it up. The Sabres did such a great job at that on Sunday. Didn't give the Blues anything in front of the net, had to scramble for everything around the net to get our goals. And hopefully they clean that up and muddy up that middle today.
Well, next up for the Blues, as we mentioned, in a couple hours, we will be seeing, actually in under 2 hours, we'll be seeing the Blues kick off against the Blackhawks at 4 o'clock. I say kickoff, should have said like first pitch or something.
Right, first pitch.
First pitch, right around 4, probably a little later, but that's when the festivities start. So that's why we want to kind of close up here so we can all prepare. I need a shower. Friday.
Damn straight you do.
Friday, January 3rd, I will be at this game. They are playing Ottawa at 7 o'clock. Saturday, January 4th, they will be in Columbus at 6. Tuesday, January 7th, at Minnesota at 7 o'clock. And then Thursday, January 9th, they will return back to Enterprise Center at 7 o'clock as they face the Anaheim Ducks. That's going to do it for this episode. Bill, any closing thoughts before we break off here to talk about or to go watch the Winter Classic?
No, just looking forward to a hopefully what turns out to be an exciting game. Hopefully we're not just sitting around waiting for updates for how long till puck drop. The weather hopefully will cooperate, and we'll get going. And super excited about this. Super excited to be wearing my gear.
Yes. Yeah, you've got the timely gear this year. I'm representing the past, but this Winter Classic jersey from the Minnesota game is one of my favorite jerseys this team's ever worn. So very happy to be wearing this one today. But yeah, should be a fun game, folks. I hope you all are excited to watch the Blues. I would say our next show will probably be next Wednesday, January 8th is my guess. Looking at the Blues schedule. So we'll get back to a little bit more normalcy after this weird holiday break. Want to thank you all for an awesome 2024. It has been another fun year covering the Blues and talking with our awesome audience every single week. We love having you. And Bill, another great year of Let's Go Blues Radio has come to an end.
That's crazy. This was a super fast year that way too much went on this year that I would love to forget. So I'm going to be drinking here very shortly.
Yep. Yeah. Like I said, I'm going to the store in a little bit. I'm making the wife drive, even though I don't put a lot of alcohol in my eggnog, but just to be safe, it's always good to have another driver. So we got to run up to the store. I got to shower, and then I am going to be doing nothing the rest of the night and watching, hopefully, the Blues get a victory against Chicago at Wrigley Field. Enjoy the game, folks. And we want to thank our amazing sponsors, strikewithmike.com and rockinthatidlife.com. That'll wrap up episode 14 of season 14 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast. Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the show. We'll talk to you next week. For Bill Day and Kirk Price, I'm Jeff Ponder, and this was Let's Go Blues Radio. Until next time, everyone, beat the Blackhawks, fuck the Cubs, let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
A Mark Goodson television production.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
I found prints! No, fingerprints. I don't think so.
Kmart is more than any store you have known before. Kmart means you get quality. It's friendly and warm, and service does not take long. One visit and you will